Goedemiddag allemaal, bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue à Tubize pour la conférence de presse de Roberto Martinez et Johan Wallem qui vont annoncer leur sélection pour les matchs à venir. Een goedemiddag iedereen en welkom in het Belgian Football Center hier in Tubize, waar Roberto Martinez zometeen zijn selectie zal bekendmaken voor de komende vriendschappelijke wedstrijd tegen Saudi-Arabië en zometeen ook beloftecoach Johan Wallem voor de EK-kwalificatiematch tegen Hongarije. Mais d'abord, quelques infos pratiques. Des tickets pour les matchs des Diables et les matchs des Diablotins sont en vente sur notre site internet, comme vous savez. Er is voor de Rode Duivels in de aanloop naar Saudi-Arabië 1 open training voorzien en die heeft plaats, voor het publiek dus voor alle duidelijkheid, en die heeft plaats op vrijdag 23 maart om 16 uur. Het terrein is toegankelijk vanaf 15:30 uur. Er is plaats voor maximum 1600 toeschouwers. Parkeren kan bij de ingang van het domein en op de openbare weg, tenminste als u de wegcode respecteert. Je vous rappelle aussi que tout type de sacs seront interdits et que le site est non-fumeur. Goed, dan nu het sportieve luik met de eerste selectie van beloftecoach Johan Wallem voor de EK-kwalificatiematch van maandag 26 maart tegen Hongarije in Leuven. België staat eerste in de groep met 6 punten meer dan Hongarije, dat weliswaar 2 wedstrijden minder heeft gespeeld. We krijgen dus een topper aan de dreef en Johan Wallem geeft nu de selectie van de belofteploeg voor die wedstrijd. Johan?
Dank u, merci. Goedemiddag, bonjour. Alors, hierbij mijn selectie voor de 2 wedstrijden. Voici ma sélection pour les 2 matchs. Doelman en gardien de but, Ortwin de Wolf, Nordin Jakkers, Jens Tunkens. Verdedigers, défenseur, Massimiliano Coffrier, Elias Kobout, Dion Coles, Wout Vaas, Sami Mae, Senami Ange, Jur Schrijvers, Dries Waters. Middenvelders, milieu de terrain, Samuel Bastien, Alexis Dessart, Dodi Lukebakio, Julien Engoy, Aristote Nkaka, Stéphane Omeonga. Aanvallers, attaquant, Nani Landry Dimata, Aaron Lea Iseka, Isaac Mbenza, Obi Oulare et Siebe Schrijvers.
Merci Johan. Vous voulez quelque chose ajouter ou est-ce qu'il y a des questions pour Johan concernant sa sélection contre l'Hongrie? Vragen voor Johan Wallem? Geen vragen? So then it's time to pass the floor to our coach, our head coach, Roberto Martinez. He will announce his selection for the friendly international, voor de vriendschappelijke interland van 27 maart tegen Saudi-Arabië. Coach, the names please.
Good afternoon. The squad of the Red Devils to face Saudi Arabia: Thibaut Courtois, Simon Mignolet, Matt Sells, Koen Castells, Jan Bertongen, Laurent Simon, Vincent Kompany, Thomas Vermaelen, Toby Alderweireld, Leander Den Donker, Dedrick Boyata, Thomas Meunier, Jordan Lukaku, Yannick Carrasco, Anthony Limbombe, Axel Witsel, Marwan Fellaini, Yuri Tillemans, Kevin De Bruyne, Moussa Dembele, Raja Nainggolan, Torgan Hazard, Dries Mertens, Kevin Mirallas, Michy Batshuayi, Divock Origi, Romelu Lukaku and Eden Hazard. That's a full squad.
Okay, thank you coach. Zijn er vragen over de selectie van Roberto Martinez? Vragen eerst voor de audiovisuele media. Wie begint er? Rodrigo? Oui? Attendez, on vous passe le micro d'abord. Oui. Oppassen voor de resonantie van de klankmannen, want het galmt een beetje.
Excuse me, Mr. Martinez, is Benteke there? In the list?
No, it's not Christian Benteke. No.
Can you explain this choice?
Well, at the moment it's just to try to see other players. Christian, we know him really, really well, and at this point is just the decision to look at other options. But Christian is well in our thoughts. It's just for this camp we're going to use other players.
Mr. Martinez, the last time you also took Jan Uzaj and De Poitre, but they didn't play in the friendly games. Now there is Limbombe. It's the first time. You take them to see him on the training, or have a chance to show what they can do in the game against Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think the Anthony Limbombe is a call-up that has been just very consistent this season. I think it represents his good performances, represents, I think, the good work of Bruges of the season in the Pro League. I think Anthony is a very interesting footballer. He's got the attacking threat in a wing-back role that we like to play in the national team. I think as with the injury of Nasser Charlie, is a position that we are a little bit open. And I think Anthony has earned the right to be in the group and see him how he reacts with the other players in the national team. And I think he's deserved the called up in a position that we need to have as many options as we can. And as you mentioned, the players that we saw in the other camp, they're still in our thoughts. This is just the last opportunity that we have to work with the players before we meet in May. So we need to see as many players as we can before we call in the final 23. This camp is essential for the players to help them to make the impression to try to get into the final 23.
You was in Barcelona last Wednesday. Do the performance of Hazard and Courtois in such a big game worry you?
No. I think what we've seen is that those sort of games, and we're talking about the Spurs Juventus, the Roma Shakhtar games that we've seen, incredible level of quality. Barcelona against Chelsea was exactly the same. That day, I think is a performance from a team like Barcelona, that they got a player like Lionel Messi, and the margins are very, very small. I think we need to take now the experiences of those games and take the players into a better level of mentality to be able to come to the national team and use those experiences. So I don't think that's a negative at all.
Last question, you speak about mentality. We have 3 months until the World Cup. How can you give the winner mentality to the players now?
I think it comes with little steps. Now we need to make sure that every player gets, it's given an individual treatment. This is March. We got information from last March and last camp, and this is a very tough period for the players. They're starting to accumulate a lot of minutes. Some of the players, they got over 3,000 minutes. We need to refresh them. We need to give them a little bit of a mental break. We need to be able to work in certain specific aspects for the game against Saudi Arabia. So from all the information that we have, this camp is essential to get that final list of 23. Then the mentality comes with the small steps that we're going to be guided by the friendlies that we have. Saudi Arabia is one. Then we got the 3 that we already announced of Portugal, Egypt, and Costa Rica. And I think it's accumulating the experiences. I think games like Greece away in the qualifying campaign, Bosnia and Herzegovina away, they were really good challenges for us to show that mentality. And I think slowly we're creating a really good path that we need to follow. That obviously that mentality is only going to be showed when we start the World Cup itself.
Thank you for your answers.
Thank you.
Gracias.
More questions from the TV or radios? Gert?
Mr. Martinez, you want several players to have a lot of rest going into the World Cup. What do you mean exactly by letting them rest?
No, I wouldn't say let them rest with no thought. I think some players now, they are in a crucial moment of their season. Some of the players, they're involved in competitions that they just started, that they had the pre-season, like the Chinese League and the MLS. These players, they got a completely different situation than the ones that they have, for example, in the European competition, where they've been playing domestically in the league, in the cups, and then playing Champions League or Europa League. These players now, they need to be given a very good opportunity to refresh themselves and work really hard. But sometimes it's working in other aspects that is not with the football boots and allowing your legs to get really tired. And more than anything, that mental fatigue that you're starting to accumulate in this period. So this is an essential camp for us. We'll be able to work with every player individually. I'll be able to speak with all the individuals in the early part, and that's going to be very beneficial for us.
Is that your main concern, that players will be too tired going into the World Cup?
No, I think when you work in the Premier League, which is without a doubt the most demanding league in the world, not for any other reason, is than that there is no break in the winter. You work consistently for 10 months, you accumulate a lot of minutes. Our experience of 7 years in the Premier League shows that players in this period of March, April, they need to be treated in an individual basis. The British League, as you know, every game you have to be 100%. You can't just perform 80% to win a football game. And those demands are important, that we get the players ready to finish their seasons at their clubs in the best possible manner, and then being able to go to a major tournament like the World Cup, having the energy and having the mental regeneration that is needed. I think if you look through all the players that they've been involved in the British game, they find it very difficult to go into a tournament in the summer and being able to perform. And it's because when the body shuts down, because the season is consistently for 10 months so demanding, that it's very difficult to pick it up. So this is part of the process of allowing the players to regenerate and give them exactly what they need to be able to perform on the pitch. And that's the focus, taking a lot of information, taking a lot of stats of other years and trying to bring that into good use.
Saudi Arabia is a friendly game. What do you want to see? You want to try out a few things?
I think Saudi Arabia is a very good opposition for us for two reasons. One, because he's got a new coach, and the new coach is a very experienced coach at international level. Antonio Pizzi was the manager of Chile in a very clear style, high pressing, very dynamic. The team, they're gonna come here to win the game. There's no doubt about that. And they had little time to work with a new coach. So these games are very important for them. And the other aspect is that the enthusiasm that they're gonna bring to the World Cup is very similar to what we're gonna find with Panama and Tunisia, nations that they arrive into the World Cup to celebrate their role, and we'll have to match that enthusiasm. So for that reason, for us, this game is going to help us in many aspects that we can use towards the World Cup.
Nog vragen voor...
How many substitutions can we make?
Six. It's going to be considered as an official FIFA friendly, so it's 6 substitutions.
Okay. Mr. Martinez, can you be a little more specific on the program? You expect them on Monday? Do they all come on Monday? Do they stay here, or will they be able to go home for some evenings or not?
We're meeting up on Monday. I think, as you know, there are games today, played today. As we speak, there is a game playing in China, in the Chinese League. Then we got games on Saturday, games on Sunday. And depending on how those games go, we're going to meet up early part of the week, Monday and different days, and then we can use that first block in a very much individualized manner. I want to speak with all the players. We're going to go through where their positions are, how they feel since the last time that we met. Remember, this is November, so it's important that there is a lot of contact and a lot of exchange. And then the second part of the camp is clearly a very intense period, preparing for the Saudi Arabia and having a real focus on getting that block of work that we need at international level. So it's a very good camp, very much individualized and depending on the players. And it goes based a little bit on the minutes that the players played in their clubs.
Encore des questions voor de télé. Dan gaan we hier de livestream beëindigen. We end the live streaming here of the press conference. And then we leave the floor to the media of the written press. Dus bedankt voor het kijken. Merci pour être avec nous dans ce live streaming à la conférence de presse de Roberto Martinez. Et passez une bonne journée. Oké, dan is het nu tijd voor vragen, questions from the other media.
Speaking about China, do you think it's a problem that Carrasco plays as a striker now?
Well, I think the situation